There's one number in your business that determines whether you take home $1,500 a job or $6,500 a job. And I can guarantee that you're not tracking or thinking about it as much as you need to be. It's not revenue. It's not how many jobs you're doing. It's not your close rate. If you're in the trades, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, concrete, landscape, doesn't matter. You've probably been grinding to get more revenue, more leads, more jobs. But there's one number in your P&L that if you're able to fix it, it would fundamentally change your business overnight. Private equity firms pay millions of dollars for trades businesses just to fix this one thing. And I'm gonna show you exactly what it is, how it works, and how to fix it yourself in just the next few minutes. But first, if you're not sure who I am, my name is Dylan. I'm one of the co-founders here at STAXX, where we run a fractional CFO and accounting firm currently servicing, at the time of this video, over 90 clients. Our company is going to do multiple seven figures in revenue this year. And we're helping business owners dial in their accounting and finance functions every day so they can continue growing their businesses. Like I mentioned, we do fractional CFO work for service professionals, trades, home service companies. And I can tell you the gap between guys making money and guys that are just staying busy comes down to understanding 6 numbers. That's it, just 6. And I know what you're thinking, oh shit, this is just gonna be another accounting lecture, but it's not. This is just gonna be a couple minutes of simple math that'll actually rewire how you think about every job that you bid from here on out. Hey, and if you own a business that's growing quickly, but your accounting and finance function is struggling to keep up, that's what we help business owners with all day, every day over here at STAXX. We can get your accounting cleaned up. We can maintain it on an ongoing basis. And then we're going to implement a 13-week cash flow forecast for you so you can start making business decisions based on your financial data instead of just from a gut feeling. So if you would like to get help maturing your accounting and finance function, getting a fractional CFO to sit in your corner to help you make some of these business decisions as you keep growing, there's a link in the description down below where you can book a time with either me or my team, and we'll see if it's a good fit for us to be working together. I'll see you over there. So let's go through these definitions just really quickly. Revenue, that one's kind of obvious, right? That's what the customer pays you. The next is cost of goods sold, or your cost of services. Now, this is your direct costs for you to actually deliver the job. So most of the time, this is your materials and your crew's labor. Your gross profit is what's left over after those direct costs. And then your overhead is anything after that, like your truck payments, insurance, office admin, things like that. The net profit is what you actually take home. And your gross margin is just your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. These are the 6 core definitions you need to understand as a business owner. All right, now let me put some real numbers on this. I'm gonna use a roofing company example here because the numbers are clean and easy to follow. But really, if you're in HVAC, electrical, plumbing, concrete, landscaping, just plug your own numbers in. The math works exactly the same. So this roofer in this example charges $10,000 per residential tear off and re-roof, pretty standard. So it costs him $6,500 to deliver the job, about $2,800 in materials, shingles, underlaying, flashing, ridge vents, whatever, and about $3,700 for his crew to tear off the old roof and install the new one. So that includes labor, payroll, taxes, all of it. And then on top of that, he's got about $2,000 of overhead per job. So think, truck payments, insurance, workers' comp, dumpster rental. And if you're in the trades, very well workers' comp and insurance alone is eating you up. So that leaves you in this example with $1,500 in net profit per job. So his gross profit was $3,500 and his net profit was $1,500, meaning that his gross margin was 35% and the net margin was only 15%. Now, a lot of the guys in the trades might just say, hey, that's just what it is. But I would say, no, that's a company that hasn't been super intentional about their pricing or hasn't updated their pricing maybe in years. Okay, so here's where that one number that I mentioned actually comes into play. Gross margin. This is a lever most trades businesses never touch, but I'm going to show you what happens when you actually do. If this roofer in the same example was to raise their prices by just 50%, going from $10,000 to $15,000 per roof, his cost of goods sold stays exactly the same at $6,500, but his gross profit jumps from $3,500 to $8,500. His gross margin goes from 35% all the way up to 57% in this example. And his net profit per job goes from $1,500 all the way up to $6,500. That's more than a 4x on his take home on every single job. So how does a price increase on the front end lead to a quadruple in your actual take home pay? This is really what I'm trying to get across to you. This is the leverage you have with your gross margin. Not very many people operating businesses are thinking about it this way. And by the way, this same math works regardless of your industry. Whether you're replacing roofs, installing HVAC systems, running electrical, or pouring concrete, the numbers change, but the principle doesn't. Now, some of you are thinking, why not just cut costs instead? So let's look into that. To hit that same 57% gross margin by cutting costs, you would have to drop your delivery costs from $6,500 down to $4,300 per job. That's a 34% cut. You're gonna be telling your crew to take a massive pay cut, and you're gonna have to be shopping for the cheapest materials on the market. And that's what gets your best guys walking off the job site to go work for your competitor down the street. Your material quality is gonna drop, your callbacks are gonna go up, warranty claims are gonna go up, and your Google reviews are gonna tank. Now compare that to just raising prices 50% on new customers. New customers have no idea what you charged the folks that you serviced last month. They're deciding today whether this job is worth $15,000 or not. And in the trades, if you're a contractor who shows up on time, returns calls, communicates clearly through the project, and does quality work, most homeowners will happily pay the premium. They're not just buying a roof or an AC unit or a panel upgrade, they're buying certainty that their project isn't gonna turn into a nightmare. Now you can make this change overnight without any awkward conversations to your crew and without sacrificing your work quality. Now here's where it gets really interesting. I wanna show you this not because I think every business should do this tomorrow or that you even could do this tomorrow, but because the math reveals something most business owners never see. So this particular roofing company in the example that we've been talking about, let's say they hadn't raised prices in over 4 years. Material costs have been climbing, diesel fuel is up, insurance premiums go up year over year. You know, he could have raised prices 40% just to keep pace with the market. But just hang with me here. What if he doubled his prices? His revenue now goes to $20,000 per job. Cost of goods stays at $6,500. His gross profit is now $13,500. Overhead stays at $2,000. Net profit per job is now $11,500. That is over an 8x on your take home. Same crew, same trucks, same shingles in this example. Now, would you be losing jobs at that level of a price increase? Absolutely. Your close rate would go down 100%. You know, this is home service trades that we're talking about. This is not consulting. Homeowners are going to get multiple quotes, but here's where the math gets wild. Let's assume the worst here. Instead of doing 180 jobs per year at $10,000, you double your prices, you lose half the work. Now you only run 90 jobs, but it's $20,000 each. And the first thing you notice is the revenue is the same. You know, 1.8 million either way in just this example, right? Double the price, lose half the customers. The top line doesn't move, but the total annual profit goes from 270,000 to over $1 million with half the scheduling, half the crew to manage, half the wear and tear on the trucks and equipment, and half the warranty calls. Now, is it going to be realistic to straight double your prices, you know, for everybody listening to this? Probably not. But I would argue that you probably have more pricing power than you think. But even if you raised your pricing 50% and started to lose 20% of the leads that you would normally close, you'd still be making dramatically more money with less complexity. That's the actual play for business owners in this arena. Whether you're a roofer, electrician, HVAC, plumber, concrete, landscape, doesn't matter. The math works the same way. So the one number that I told you about at the beginning of this video, it's gross margin. That's it. That's what separates the guy working 60 hours a week, barely making any take-home pay, to the guys who are half as busy making 3 times as much. And look, this is not theory. This is exactly what private equity firms pay a premium for when they acquire trade businesses. They walk in, look at the gross margin and go, man, we can fix this in the next 90 days because they know profit is what makes a business worth owning. It helps with cash flow. You know, they're not coming in and trying to fix, you know, head count, the number of jobs you're doing, the years in business. Like, that's not really what matters. They're going to fix pricing, which effectively fixes gross margin and your net profit per job. And really, you got 2 ways you can move it. You can cut costs, which is going to be super painful, I'm telling you right now, or raise your prices a bit, which you can do literally overnight and never look back. So if you're running a business in the trades, if you're a home service provider, a contractor, a service professional doing over 7 figures, and you want us to break down these numbers on your actual P&L, there's a link in the description where you can book a time to chat with either me or my team, and we'll show you exactly where your margin is leaking and see if it's a good fit to start implementing some of this stuff in your business and start making decisions through a financial lens in your business instead of just doing everything based on your gut feeling. If that's of interest, links in the description. I'll see you on the next one.